We're pissing off our allies, and the stock market went down dramatically. It's gone up dramatically today. The market manipulation question by Mr. Horsford is a very real concern that we're going to have to dig into a little bit. Who's benefiting from these wild fluctuations down, wild fluctuation up? We're still way down.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm responding to a really revealing exchange between Congressman Tom Suozzi and Trump's trade representative during a recent hearing. And let me tell you, this clip perfectly illustrates what's wrong with the current administration's economic approach. Now let's watch the video.
Mr. Suozzi.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ambassador. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for your service. I saw that you were a missionary and you were a veteran and you had a big job at a law firm, and now you're here serving the government. You helped negotiate the USMCA. Did you think the USMCA was a good deal for America?
I think it was. There was a lot more we could have done and should have done.
So why did the president come out after this year and say it was one of the worst deals we ever negotiated in the history of the country?
I think it's frustrating that here we are 5 years later and steel imports from Mexico shot up, car imports from Mexico shot up.
Well, you think it was a good deal, but he thinks it was a terrible deal. I mean, I feel like you're in a very bad position here. This whole idea that this president made this switcheroo on you while you were in the middle of testifying here today. I actually feel bad for you.
No,
but I really feel bad for the American people that are seeing these things happen. There's no plan. I mean, that's my big concern. I know there's goals. I want to see manufacturing brought back to America, or at least I want to see jobs that pay more money so we can rebuild our middle class in America. I'm for that. I'm for holding China accountable and holding our adversaries accountable. I'm for tariffs in select specific places. But right now, all we know is prices are going up, we're pissing off our allies, and the stock market went down dramatically. It's gone up dramatically today. The market manipulation question by Mr. Horsford is a very real concern that we're going to have to dig into a little bit. Who's benefiting from these wild fluctuations down, wild fluctuation up? We're still way down. We need a plan to accomplish the objectives that I know that you genuinely believe in, which is to try and recreate the middle class here in the United States of America, that on my side of the aisle, we all believe in that. We have to recreate the middle class in America. Do you think we should increase the minimum wage in America?
I think we need to create jobs that naturally have high wages.
The minimum wage in 20 states is $7.25 an hour. Do you think we should increase the minimum wage?
I mean, I think the states should be managing that kind of thing. I think we need better manufacturing jobs that are
20 states,
$30, $40, $50
20 states
an hour.
rely on the federal minimum wage. It's still $7.25 an hour. So you don't think we should increase it at the federal level?
Well, you'll have to talk to the Secretary of Labor on that. That's
Do you think we should have the PRO Act to promote unions in America? Because that will help to recreate the middle class.
And I'd refer you to Secretary Chavez DeRemer. She's much better placed.
Do you like the CHIPS Act that to reshore the manufacturing of semiconductors here in the United States of America, a national industrial policy where we invest in creating factories with high-skilled, high-wage jobs in America? Do you support the CHIPS Act?
So notionally, I agree that we should have industrial policy to help with chips and other things, right? You know, whether the CHIPS Act was the perfect way to do it, I don't know. But
so my big concern is that, you know, we want to do these things. You and I share the same goals, but there's no plan right now. As we saw, there's been devastation from this unilateral action by the president where he treats our allies and our strategic adversaries the same, with the exception of China. We know that China's, and I'm all for that. I actually have a bill that I sponsored to get rid of most favored trade nation for China. So, but why are we treating our allies? Why are we treating Japan and Korea and Australia, who have been our bulwarks against China in the Indo-Pacific? And Vietnam, even though they don't share our philosophy, they're sick of China as well. And we were building a relationship with them to help us be a bulwark against China. Why are we treating our allies in the Indo-Pacific, who are our main allies against China, the same as we're treating our adversaries?
We aren't treating them the same. They have substantially lower tariffs than China.
I know, but we just really kind of bombarded them. I mean, it's the same as USMCA. We negotiated a bipartisan trade agreement that everybody agreed upon, that the president praised as being the best deal ever, and now he pulls the rug, like he pulled the rug out from under you today. He pulled the rug out from under Canada and Mexico. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's no plan. Do you think that there's a plan, and can you share the plan with us?
Certainly. Listen, I'm very confident in the president's policy. Goods that meet USMCA rules come in duty-free. So when the president comes out and he says, we're going to have a tariff to make sure we're treated the same, that we can get rid of these deficits. We have a baseline 10% to make sure that we don't have Swiss cheese in this program, and then we have higher tariffs on those who are the worst offenders. That's why you end up in a
president put in place
Can I
this.
finish?
The president put in place these high tariffs, but today he just yanked them out. Is that part of the plan? Was that always part of the plan?
Well, they're paused. The reality is, a lot of these countries have come to us and they said, we understand American leadership, we understand what you're trying to do, we want to have reciprocal trade with you. China has taken a different choice, and so they're on a different path. Our Western Hemisphere countries, they all have the lowest rate. They have a 10% rate, right? The UK, Australia, they have a 10% rate. These are all the lowest. The big issues are in Asia, where we saw the offshoring, and China is in a category all by itself.
Okay, thank you, Ambassador. Appreciate your time today. I'm very concerned there's no plan, and this is being done kind of willy-nilly at the last minute by the president, out of his head. It doesn't really make sense to us. It'd be great if we knew what the plan was and it was shared to us by the administration, and even if it was done in a way for our committee, that we can at least know what's happening. We have a lot of the same goals, but right now, prices are going up, our allies are very upset, and the stock market is on fire. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Gomez is recognized.
What we just witnessed was a sitting member of Congress exposing something that affects every single American household. There is no coherent economic strategy coming from this administration. Let's break down what happened in this hearing, because it's pretty astonishing. While the trade representative is literally sitting there testifying before Congress, defending their trade policies, President Trump suddenly announces a completely different approach to tariffs. Can you imagine being that poor official? You're there under oath explaining one policy, and your boss tweets out something completely contradictory. I almost feel bad for the trade rep too, but you know who I really feel bad for? The American people, the workers in our factories, the small business owners trying to plan inventory, the farmers wondering if they can sell their crops overseas. How are any of these hardworking Americans supposed to plan when policy can change with a presidential mood swing? Let's be clear about something. I'm not against all tariffs. Strategic tariffs that protect American industries while we rebuild our manufacturing base, that makes sense. But slapping random tariffs on allies and enemies alike with no warning, that's economic chaos. This is such an important point. Countries like Japan, South Korea, and Australia have been our partners in maintaining stability in Asia. They help us counter China's influence. And how does this administration thank them? By hitting them with the same punitive tariffs as countries that actively work against American interests. That's not just bad economics, it's terrible diplomacy and dangerous geopolitics. You know what real patriotism looks like? It's having a strategic vision for American prosperity that lifts up working families. It's creating good-paying jobs through thoughtful policies, not impulsive announcements. Did you catch that exchange about the minimum wage? The trade rep completely dodged the question. The federal minimum wage is still $7.25 an hour in 20 states. How can we talk about rebuilding the middle class when we won't even ensure people can afford basic necessities? Real patriotism means making sure Americans can live with dignity on their wages. Let's talk about what a real economic strategy would look like. First, we need targeted industrial policy, like the CHIPS Act that Swosey mentioned, that brings strategic manufacturing back to America. Not just any jobs, but good jobs with benefits and union protections. Second, we need to raise wages and strengthen labor laws so workers get a fair share of the prosperity they create. That means passing the PRO Act to protect workers' right to organize. Third, we need trade policies that differentiate between allies and competitors. We should be building trade coalitions with like-minded nations to counter China's influence, not alienating the very countries we need on our side. And fourth, we need transparency and predictability in our economic policy. Businesses and workers both need to know what's coming so they can plan accordingly. That about sums it up. What we're seeing is chaos that hurts regular Americans while benefiting those who can exploit market volatility. Notice how Swosey mentioned market manipulation? We need to ask who's profiting from these wild stock swings when policy changes hit the news. Let me be clear. Loving America means wanting the best for all Americans. It means creating an economy that works for everyone, not just those at the top. It means having a coherent strategy for maintaining American leadership in the world, not erratic decisions that undermine our standing. Real patriotism isn't about flag-waving or tough talk. It's about the hard work of building an economy where everyone who works hard can get ahead. It's about strategic thinking that puts America's long-term interests above short-term political gains. What we saw in that hearing was a rare moment of clarity, a congressman cutting through the talking points to expose the truth. There is no plan. Just impulsive decisions that leave American workers, businesses, and allies in the lurch. If you care about America's economic future, this should concern you regardless of your political beliefs. We deserve better than this economic whiplash. We deserve leadership with a vision beyond the next news cycle. Please guys hit like and subscribe. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think about these tariff policies and how they're affecting your community. And as always, stay informed and stay engaged. Our democracy depends on it.